Hello, Professor. This is my presentation on online gambling on politics, or as these companies like to say, online skills game uh, betting on politics. So, what are some of the biggest sites? There's DraftKings, there's FanDuel, there's Predicted. Now, well, at least everybody voluntarily is self quarantining. What are some ways to entertain yourself? Well, there's sports, right? Nope. Those have been canceled due to security reasons because of the coronavirus. Now, you at least have your work, right? Well, they're starting to shut down some businesses because they do have high risk of spreading the viruses, of course. So, if you can't work and if you can't go out or watch something entertaining, what can you do? Well, the one way that I've been actually looking into, not necessarily that I've been doing, but looking into, is online gambling on politics. Now, the terminology gambling is, let's just say, not necessarily completely legal. And see, since it's legal, well, it's like in the middle. It's not. It's it's legal, but not under the terms of gambling. Even though you're putting your money in on predicting on the result of something you had nothing to do with on the play, it's not necessarily gambling. So, why should you make your money through this way? Can't you do the stock market? Well, the stock market is crashing. What about the crypto market? Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin. Those are good alternatives, which, by the way, I'm invested in. But they've crashed because of the coronavirus. People are panicking where to invest their money. So, one way of actually guaranteeing yourself of making money is online gambling on politics, because the sports section is completely canceled now that a lot of the sport events are being canceled. Now, are you necessarily going to be cracked down because you did some online gambling? Well, online playing on a game of skills, because that's the terminology that DraftKings and FanFuel like to use. Game of skill. Uh, no. And that's if you use a VPN. A VPN makes your computer untraceable of its location. However, even if you don't use a VPN, you're not gonna be you're not likely to be cracked down. The cops like to actually crack down on bigger things than online gambling. So, on the debate of March 15th, DraftKings offered a prize of $10,000 with 12 questions that you had to make predictions on, including one of my favorite questions was, would Bernie mention the word billionaire? Would he continue ranting about the billionaires in this country? And I mean, that's pretty predictable, but there were other 12 questions. So, for those 12 questions, you could win a prize of $10,000 if you predict them right and at the fastest moment. So, Predicted right now is one of the biggest sites for politics when it comes to the game of skill online. They have 69.4 million shares, 69.4 million people investing their money in on one poll, and that is who is going to win the 2020 election. Is it going to be Donald Trump, Joe Biden? Right now, Joe Biden has more likability according to the predictors of winning the election. And that's been the recent surge after South Carolina that he managed to pass Donald Trump. There was no one in competitions with Donald Trump. Let me show you over here. This is 7 day. Let's put 90 day because 90. See, this is Donald Trump's line. This was the orange one is Sanders, and the blue one is Joe Biden. He was more likable. Then the first election started coming. He tanked. Then South Carolina, boom, skyrocket high. Super Tuesday passed Bernie Sanders, and now he's the more likable the one that everybody's betting on to win, or at least most people are predicting to win. Then let's see some of the other. Oh yeah, there are 54 markets. 54 markets just for the 2020 election, which range on a series of questions. Which party wins the presidency? Who will win the popular vote? The winner of the South Carolina primary. Well, will the South Carolina primary predict the president? The same thing for other elections. Who will win Ohio in 2020? Because that's a very unpredictable swing state. Back in 2016, it went to the right. It went to the GOP. Now, that's not the state that always goes to the GOP necessarily. So that was a fun state to actually put your money on if you want to. Now, there are 89 markets for the Democratic primaries. Let me show you right here. That one is near the Joe Biden one. The amount of tweets that Joe Biden does. There's also a question about Hillary Clinton running in 2020 with 3.8 million shares. Imagine that. Is she gonna run? Well, 3 point. Let's see. Very unlikable. Very unlikable. Most people are saying no. Of course. Maybe they're wrong, maybe they're right. Then there are 25 markets just for Donald Trump, including how many tweets he will do, which is also for Donald Trump Jr., the number of tweets that he will do. Who will be the nominee for the Republican primary in 2020? Right now, Donald Trump is winning in the delegation. I think he has already passed, let me check. Rep. Let's see. Yep, passed it. Yeah, he passed the 1,265 delegate count. No, wait. He needs to win. They need 1,276. Donald Trump has 1,265, while the other candidate who comes in very close to him has only one delegate, which is Bill Weld. But still, people are more likely to predict. People are putting their predictions more on Mike Pence and Nikki Haley and John Kasich, which, again, is what people predict, not necessarily based on any, um, not necessarily based on the actual election, most likely, but there are still people. I mean, none of these people have actually decided to run in 2020. Oh well, here are some of the three candidates who actually did decide to run against Trump. Bill Weld, Joe Walsh, and Mark Sanford are dead last in the betting industry. Well, again, betting is not the best terminology to use this for legal reasons, but in the game of skill, most people are predicting that these guys are not gonna win, and very unlikely now that Donald Trump literally needs less than 10, actually less than 15 delegates to win. For Congress, there are 21 markets predicting of predictions of elections. So there's one about the AOC District 14 of New York, because she's one of the most popular figures in Congress right now. Then there are 20 markets for the U.S. government having to do with the Supreme Court justices and who's going to be on trial next, whether they're going to indict Hillary Clinton or Roger Waters, or wait, not Roger Waters. I misread that. Roger Stone. Roger Stone. And 14 world markets from world elections today. And that's from 14 main elections, such as the Israeli election, the Democrats. Then there's China's GDP estimate. There's the primaries for Puerto Rico, the labor leader in the UK, whether Maduro will stay in office in Venezuela, will there be a Trump Kim Jong-un meeting in 2020, Trump Xi Jinping in meeting by 31st of March. There are many there are many markets where you can actually invest your money in right now through Predicted. It's a game of skill according to these sites, and the legality is you can pretty much do it. So you can pretty much do it, but it's not completely legal. It's not illegal because, as you see, there are no cops on my house right now. But the terminology is iffy because they don't want to put themselves as gambling. So they're able to bypass the regulations and actually make themselves available into the marketplace, which is something that John Oliver has discussed in his video. The way that they get around the regulations is by avoiding the term of betting, gambling, and saying that this is a game of skill. Now, that's up to you to decide whether you should use the term gambling or game of skill. But for the time being, legally, these guys stand with the term of game of skill. And it's a way to invest your money in while the other places are tanking. Thank you for hearing my presentation, and hope to see you in class or online classes soon.